Welcome to the Lila Life Show. I'm your host, Linda Andrews, and I am pumped to be with you today. If you are a high-performing leader navigating transition, career, business, personal, you may at times feel a little foggy. Things could feel heavy, unclear, overwhelming, or a little roller coaster or roundabout of all three. And so today I want to talk to you about how to lighten that weight by creating options that will move you forward. Can you relate to this? The analysis paralysis, the unbearable anxiety of the uncertainty, and with that fog, right? The lack of clarity. This can also evoke that feeling of wanting to know what's the perfect next step. And sometimes when we're feeling stuck, it is not seeing the options. And so this is an opportunity to create options for yourself in this time of transition. Options can come in different shapes and sizes. There's different ways to create options. And usually the clarity that you're craving and looking for comes after the movement, not before. And so this is that challenge, aka opportunity to have some movement. So when I think of my own transitions, what do I wish I knew? One is that I definitely would have had a better mapped out savings and timeline, enough for some breathing room, but enough that the timeline did create a sense of urgency. I remember when I first left my former career, it was a big step to have that date, but then what, right? And for me, I thought my then what was a different job that didn't end up working out. And then I was somewhat what felt like free floating in this abyss for a while of trial and error, where creating a timeline with some key milestones would have helped at least cap that trial and error time period. And so savings, it seems like the obvious one, but I think that it's worth saying again because likely whatever you think that number is, I would double it. And that timeline, you know, it's like at a minimum, you will have X, Y, or Z by this date. And I like thinking about the minimums because sometimes it's easy to be thinking expansive, like, the best possible outcome. But if you can have that sentence completed at a minimum by this date, I will have, it's a way to gut check yourself. If it's not at this at a minimum, I will have felt left down, left down, let down, or left out, let down and left out, both. So thinking about that with that timeline, what is it at a minimum? And likely with a lot of things, it takes longer than you may expect. And so being somewhat generous with that timeline and beyond the timeline, thinking about back planning from that, what does that actually look like in motion? Again, some of this planning is in hypotheticals, but if you can anchor in, this is my best case scenario, XYZ happens, I move, I start this new job, I secure this client, I make X amount in my business that you can be checking yourself along the way and understanding what those adjustments need to be if you're not meeting those. All right, what else I wish I knew? Having the key conversations and growing the network. This network that you may already have is likely for where you've already been. And so when you think about where you're going, when you think about building your network, thinking about building your network for where you're going, for not necessarily where you've already been. This does not mean to neglect or completely let go your network of where you've been, right? There's definitely some value there, connection there, absolutely. But just remembering that where you're going is not where you've been. And so likely your network is also not already where you've been, it's where you're going. Opportunities are usually flowing through people, right? It's like, I'm looking for this. I'm looking for this job. I'm looking for this client. I'm looking for this opportunity. The more clear that can be in those conversations as you're sharing those updates, the better. Also, because of the state that can happen in transitions, there can be a chaos to them. I can reflect back to some of my conversations throughout the years of navigating the transition of my former career to entrepreneurship. And sometimes I would sit down for a meeting and just be so freaked out, like, oh my God, nothing's working. It'll never work. I don't know what to do. And then that's coming into the meeting where the person on the other side, it becomes this like urgent, immediate, let me help you right now from the other person. And that's not really fair because wherever you're showing up, it's not their problem, right? And likely they're taking that meeting to help you. And so if you are feeling that anxiety and overwhelm and everything that comes with it, the more that you can ground before that meeting and get organized about what you need right now. And when I say what you need right now, thinking about for the next 90 days, the more that that person can help you. And why do I say 90 days? Yes, I want you to think about your vision, your big picture plans, but what's going to move the ball forward for you for those next 90 days? It can help with that time definition, very specifically, that person help you in that next step. The next two I would set as a bit of a combo, but building the self-resilience, this whole experience I find in transitions is building resilience, right? There's challenges around every corner. It may feel like sometimes everything is going wrong, but as you're building that resilience, that well-being is giving you capacity. And so looking at it that way, especially in the challenges, like I'm making myself stronger, I'm going to get through this. It's not going to be like this forever. And the contrary to that, if this was like this forever, what mental adjustments, what adjustments would I need to make to have this go in a smoother way for myself? And that's I think both of those prompts are great because it's not going to be like this forever, right? Everything is always changing. But if it was going to be like this forever, what adjustments, what inner adjustments could you make to have it be a little bit better of an experience for yourself? And again, looking at this, like you are building this self-resilience through this. I say the next one and this goes together because facing what's been neglected, usually whatever that past life role, responsibility, commitment may have left something neglected. And so while you're in this transition, using that as a clue, it usually has some friction, some change, some pain points in there for you that you can use all of that to face, right? It's like, what's the loudest pain point today? Maybe your body hurts, you're in pain, you haven't worked out, you need to stretch. There's some health thing to tend to, you need rest. You're stressed all the time about finances. You're not paying attention to the finances. It's something, it could be about hobbies, passions, lifelong learning, relationships. But is there something within yourself that over the past time horizon, the past timeline of commitments, identities, roles, responsibilities has led you to neglect whatever that part of yourself is, that in this transition, by you cultivating that, tending to that, could unlock something for you that you don't even know about? And so thinking about just some of those angles wherever you are at in your transition. I'm curious if there's any others that resonate for you or that you're personally navigating. Drop it in the comments. I want to hear. Transitions are absolutely not endings, right? They are openings. In the opening is the new. In the ending, right, is winding something down then for that opening, but they are not just endings and they are not just openings. It's that sweet spot in between. And with that ending, maybe goodbyes, maybe grief, maybe emotions that need to be processed so you can get to that other side. And remembering, and that's that hopeful part of it, there is an opening. It may be seeing a relationship, I'm thinking loss of a loved one, right? They're no longer with you. What's that opening? You may feel as though they're with you forever in a different form, in a different way. And that now there's room in a different way for a different relationship. Nothing's ever lost. And, a new relationship emerges, as painful as it may have felt to let the other one go. But just remembering that in this foggy moment that you may feel like you're in, there's this exact shift also recalibrating through the rest of the universe where the market, people, your life, that you are needed in this new form. And so, in these different options that you're creating, you will see opportunity. So, a little small action step for yourself today, thinking about let's stick with the neglect one. What's one area of neglect? Think about that big pain point, right? It's like whatever it is screaming at you. I've been battling some headaches lately. So for me, that feels like a pain point, right? And it's like, if I have to hyper focus on these headaches? What are some small steps and adjustments that I can be making? And usually, if you just say, like, what's one thing I can do? 10 ideas come to mind. And so it's not necessarily about overloading yourself and doing them all at one time, but what's one small step you can take, commit to it, get that in your calendar, do that. So with all of this, let's get into a little bit of breath work for today. I think we'll stick with the 4-6, and I've been digging the heart math. So we'll start with some pouring some of that gratitude, love energy into your heart center. If you want to put a hand on your heart to prompt that. If you are driving, drive safe. I recommend you don't drive while you're doing this. You can do it walking, seated. If you're definitely driving, do not close your eyes. And if you want to join me inhaling through your nose for the 4 count, holding here for 2, and exhaling for 6. Inhaling, bringing that attention to your heart center, feeling grateful for the here and the now, and holding and exhaling on that 6 count. And last one, just like that, inhaling, filling yourself up with a feeling, a sensation of gratitude for everything that you are, all that is. Holding here and exhaling. And as you sit here for a moment, again, letting yourself feel like you are being doused in gratitude, doused in love, and allow this to permeate out from you for a moment. How much gratitude can you send out? How much love can you send out? And how much gratitude and love can you receive? There is someone that is so grateful for every single ounce of your being, including likely a deep, deep, deep part of yourself. So opening your eyes when you're ready. Transitions can have moments of heaviness. They don't need to feel heavy the whole entire time. Remembering that options create momentum. Momentum reveals opportunity. And in these options, they may look different than you first think, right? It could be you trying something you've never tried before, or serving in a way you've never served before. And so, especially if you find yourself with more time, freedom, flexibility, experiment, see. You could test a new offer, you could launch a new product. And it helps to have some milestones and some timelines in place. But a level of experimenting can help you understand with this new version of yourself that's emerging, moving through transition, what is resonant now. And it may not be what was then. And there's room for that. So if you need some support navigating your transition, I have the 22-day reset at lilalife.co/start-here. You can find that at lilalife.co. And it is an absolute honor to serve you. Thank you for being here today. Like, share, subscribe, send this along to anyone that you may find one moment that could help them move forward in their transition. Many blessings to you today and always for the highest good of all. I'll see you next week on the Lila Life Show.